Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hoga With It. Today I would like to chat with you about the books that I bought in April. I'm actually going to be having a whole other little haul in April. I have some books from Book Outlet on the way, so that will be another video. But this is a haul about books that publishers have sent me. I went to Value Village and spent some money. And at the very end, I'm going to be sharing with you some baby books that I was given from my sister. So let's get into it. So I thought we could start with the ARCs that I received. I received 2 books from HarperCollins Canada. Both of them I requested because they both sound so fantastic. The first book is Searching for Sylvie Lee by Jean Kwok. So this is about a family. We follow a family after they've lost their eldest daughter, Sylvie. She goes to the Netherlands to meet her dying grandmother, to say goodbye to her, and then she vanishes. And the family is very much confused. They're worried. They don't know what happened to her. And it dives into the history of the family. It sounds like Sylvie didn't always live with them. I think she lived with relatives at some point and then rejoined the family at the age of 9. So we're following the youngest sibling's perspective, Amy. And Amy is really always looked up to her sister Sylvie. And they're all very confused as to what happened to her. So I'm really looking forward to finding out whatever happened to Sylvie Lee. It sounds really, really good. And this author wrote Girl in Translation, which I know is a big book. I've never read it, but it's a big book. So that is something that HarperCollins Canada sent to me. Thank you guys. I'm really excited for that one. And then next, it's a new Paul Tremblay. It's a short story collection, Growing Things and Other Stories. This was something that I've been really looking forward to, and it was so funny when I opened up this package. It had both Searching for Sylvie Lee and then this in it. And Barry was there with me and he's like, "Oh, it's your man crush." And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. Like, I love Paul Tremblay's writing that much. He's fantastic. And it says on the back that this short story collection includes Global Catastrophe and the Demons Inside Our Head. Tremblay illuminates our primal fears and darkest dreams, startlingly original fiction that leaves us unmoored. As he lowers the sky and yanks the ground from beneath our feet, we are compelled to contemplate the darkness inside our hearts and minds. And it sounds like there might be a couple of stories in here that relate to Disappearance at Devil's Rock, which I haven't read, and also A Head Full of Ghosts, which I've read and loved. So I am so excited that I have this. I am going to be reading this probably this summer, maybe earlier, because I'm just over the moon that I have this in my hand. So Paul Tremblay, Growing Things, yes. And then a book that Simon & Schuster sent to me that was, I didn't request it, they just sent it randomly, is actually quite intriguing. It's Supermarket by Bobby Hall, and Bobby Hall is apparently Logic. He's like an artist, which I didn't realize. Like, he's apparently a very famous Grammy nominated platinum selling recording artist. I actually saw him recently promoting this book on Trevor Noah, the Daily Show with Trevor Noah. And it sounds interesting. It's a bit of a thriller. I'm assuming it's going to be a weird thriller. And this is about a guy who works at a supermarket. He shows up one day to a crime scene. And I'm assuming it's going to be like murder or something along those lines. And it's supposed to be funny and that yet also a psychological thriller. So we shall see what I think of that. And then, okay, I have one extra book and then we'll dive into the Value Village haul. First is Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. This is a self-help book. And I haven't read a self-help book in a really long time, but this is a very, very popular one right now. And my best friend Sonia just went on and on about how helpful this was. And I was saying, you know, I could really use that. I was a little bit worried because I thought this was going to be targeted to like 20-something-year-olds, and I'm like well into my 30s at this point, and so I thought, you know, it wouldn't appeal to me. But she actually said it talks about motherhood and like a lot of things that would pertain to me. So I'm really excited to read this. It says, stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you are meant to be. So Sonia did say that it can be a bit preachy sometimes about God, and that doesn't appeal to me too much. But I can kind of bypass that, and it's not like ill-intended, so I'm sure that I'll enjoy that. And it helped Sonia, so I'm hoping it will be of use to me, and maybe I'll learn something new about myself. Okay, and then 5 books from Value Village. I hadn't gone in a little while, and then I went, and I cannot help myself. I can't help myself. First up is Exit the Actress by Priya Parmar. And this is about a woman, I think in the 16th century. The 17th century, I apologize. It's in the 17th century. And we follow a woman named Nell, and she sells oranges in front of the theater. But she is able to infiltrate herself into the theater. I think she becomes an actress. And she actually becomes the mistress of Charles II. And it is about her life. And it just sounds fascinating. I haven't read anything from the 17th century in ages, like ages and ages. And it just sounds like a lot of fun. There's lots of like letters back and forth, which I enjoy. It's not all letters, I don't think. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's like letters and diary entries. I think that might be it, which I don't mind. I know some people mind that, but I don't. So, Exit the Actress. And then I picked up Be Frank with Me. And this follows an older woman who was an author, a very famous author, but she hasn't written anything in a while. She unfortunately becomes like completely flat broke because of some sort of Ponzi scheme that she falls victim to. And the publishers send her an assistant to help her sit down and write another book. And that assistant comes with a child. And he's supposed to be a really, really funny child. His name is Frank. And I'm looking forward to this. It sounds like a really heartwarming story. So I picked up Be Frank with Me. And then this is so funny. This was just recently published, and Penguin Random House gave me the opportunity to read this and just send me an ARC, but for some reason at the time I wasn't interested. And now I desperately want to read The Winters by Lisa Gabriel. This is a retelling of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I don't know why I wouldn't want to already read a retelling of anything by Daphne du Maurier. But yeah, this is a modern retelling, and we follow an unnamed narrator, and she meets a man named Max and quickly moves to his home. There are all sorts of ghosts at this home, and instead of a very nasty housekeeper, she has to contend with his teenage daughter, Dani, and the history behind his first wife, Rebecca. So I'm looking forward to it. I began to like read through the first initial pages, and it was well written. So I had to get that. Okay, you guys are gonna go, why are you doing this to yourself, April? And why are you doing this to us? And I realized that. But I picked up Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is YA, and this is the part where I thought you guys would be like, but you know you don't like YA. Why do you keep trying? And it's because I don't want to think that I'll never like YA ever. And I did like the Every Heart a Doorway series. I've really enjoyed that. So maybe I'll like Scythe. Another reason I picked this up is Julie from A Girl in a Book, who I trust very much about YA in particular. Well, with everything, but I really trust her judgment in YA and what I would like. And she loved Scythe, and I think she's reading Thunderheads or something like that right now. I think that's the sequel. But this is about a world, dystopian world, which is kind of fun. This is about a world in which no one actually dies. Like, they've invented immortality. They've sorted it out for us. So the only thing is, there are these people who will go around and randomly kill people. They're chosen entirely by random, and we follow, I think, a young girl who is becoming a Scythe, and that is what she'll do for a living, is kill people, which is kind of cool. So I picked up that one. And then the last book I got is something that will make me cry like a baby. And that is Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. I feel like so many people have loved this and read this book. Read and loved this book. You know what I mean. And this is about a family in the, I don't know if it's, oh yeah, 1939. Memphis, 1939. The mother falls ill. She goes to the hospital, and the eldest child is told to stay behind, watch the kids. She does. There's a knock at the door, and this woman arrives, and she takes the kids. She's said that, you know, you'll see your parents really soon, but instead she's actually thrown into the Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanage. The worst part about this is based on a true story, that this actually happened. Little kids were kidnapped and put into the foster system. Why? I just think that's awful. It's awful for everyone involved. The parents who lose the kids, also the parents who have struggled with whatever, infertility most likely for years and years, and just want to love a baby who needs a mother and a father. Like, can you imagine finding this out? Awful. So I want to read this. I don't know when I'll read it, because I think it'd be a big old basket case if I read that anytime soon. Okay, so now we're moving on to the, like, baby books, like children's development book stuff. So if that's not your jam, totally understand. I'll see you later. But if it is your jam, let's get into that. So first up is a book that my mama had at her house. I think she had this when she would be babysitting my niece or nephew. And it's What to Expect the First Year. And it's just like a nice little book where you can go to, like, oh, my baby has a fever. Look up fever and, like, sort out what you need to do. And I don't have anything like that on my shelf, so I imagine this will be helpful to me. Another book quite similar to that one is actually kind of a manual thing that my sister gave me. The province of Quebec, like, gives this out every year when you've had a baby, that you were given something like this. This is 2015 because she had my little nephew Vincent in 2015. And so yeah, this is just another kind of thing where I'll say, okay, colic, here's what to do about that, and that kind of thing. I know things are updated quite regularly, so I'll be looking for my own stuff. But it's always nice to have. And then Beck gave me 3 books. There are definitely like 2 camps of thought a lot of the time with parenting. One that's like, baby wearing, attachment parenting, I should say, and one is more like a scheduled thing. My sister really liked scheduled parenting, so she has lots of books on that. I should say I realize that it changes depending on the baby and what you get. Some kids are totally happy to go on a schedule. Some of them are like, no thanks. But I am very curious about all forms, and so she gave me a few about, you know, planning your day with a baby. The first one is Baby Wise. This is a really well-known book about how to put your baby on a schedule. This book is apparently very, like, not in your face, but it's very strict. I will say it's apparently like the stricter version of, you know, planning and scheduling for your baby. So I got that, and then she gave me 2 other books that are still based on scheduling for your baby, but they're not as, like, intense. So there's Bed Timing, the when-to guide to helping your child sleep. I'm super curious about that, and it has different things like, you know, if you are someone who wants to, you know, maybe not let them cry it out, she'll give you options for that and how to deal with that. Yeah. So, and then the last one is the Sleep Easy Solution, the Exhausted Parent's Guide to Getting Your Child to Sleep from Birth to Age 5. And apparently kind of similar to the last one, Bed Timing. There's different kinds of schedules in here based on how you want to parent. So I'm really excited to have all of these. Those are all of the books that I got in April. A heck of a lot of books. I'm really, really excited about them all. The book outlet haul will be coming fairly soon, I think in like a week-ish or something, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I will talk with you soon. Okay, bye guys.